Pirelli and I, over the years, have talked about doing another calendar after the year 2000. And every now and then we would come together and throw around some ideas. And I started to think about it, and thinking about the roles that women play. Important women who have made great achievements in who they are and what they do. And then we started to think about doing a great classic set of portraits of women and not worrying about if they were wearing clothes or not. But I thought that the women should look good and strong, and it should be simple. And I decided to keep it in black and white and make it a very simple exercise of shooting in the studio. If you could have anyone walk in through the door, you know, what would be your A-list? And I think Kathleen Kennedy and Mellody Hobson had agreed. These were women I thought of immediately when I was thinking of this list.
Kathleen, turn your head slightly to your left and your eye back.
The issue of women and women's rights is extremely relevant today and very important, and I love the fact that Pirelli is taking a look at that and putting a magnifying glass on it.
Okay, go sit down. Come on, get back to bed. That is low.
It doesn't feel like you're aware.
Not having to throw it in her.
I was extremely intrigued when I found out that Annie Leibovitz was going to be shooting the calendar. In fact, that was the key reason that I was extremely interested in doing it. And I just came out of the photo session and it was fantastic. She's just an amazing photographer.
Decided time. Okay. Kathleen, just bring your foot out to me again. Not quite.
This is taking a look at real women who are working and making a difference in the world. And I think the fact that the departure is being made from a more stereotypical look at women in a calendar format, I think that's exceptional.
Goodbye, right? It really is great light. See the light? Oh, that is really nice. Turn your head slightly to the left. Come back. I'm listening.
These voices have filled the room with sound, and everyone is holding a phone up.
Well, I have to say that the email came out of left field. I get this email saying Annie is shooting this calendar, and I have to say I was not familiar with it. So I asked my husband about it. I said, do you know about the Pirelli calendar? Like, what do you know about this and what do you think? And he said, you know, they're very sexy. And I said, well, she's doing something different. She is doing a calendar about women of achievement. And I thought, well, here's an opportunity to perhaps showcase a career and a story that is not common.
Which way would you do it, Mommy? Don't worry about it.
I think that's what women like me have been dreaming of. You know, that's what we want to be known for, what we've accomplished, and what we're trying to do on a day-to-day basis and what we're fighting for. Not only for women, but also for minorities. I mean, remember, I'm both. We're called double jeopardy. We've got both. Working with Annie, she is a perfectionist, and you never know what she's thinking. I'm not sure I felt like it was a collaboration or that I was being molded into what she wanted me to be. All of my shots were not smiling. And I always take pictures smiling, so we'll see. When I don't smile, I look very serious. And so I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Thank you. Yay. We're good. Yay. Yoko, let's try. I want you to turn your head more profile. Just go profile straight. Look back to me. Come back to me. And Yoko, just try this. Try looking to your left now. That's great. That's great. I think it's confusing in my life of the day life.
With Anne Leibovitz, she's an artist herself, so she's not that easy. She would say, oh no, let's try again. Let's try something else, you know. She's always inspired. And I like that because, you know, Anne Leibovitz is like a rock and roll musician, you know. It's just, okay, well, shall we do this? Oh, no, let's do this, you know. Always thinking. And that's, I like that.
Sit back and just straighten it this way. That's cool.
I'm a rebel, so I thought it's good to do something that's different. When I say I thought that it was good to do something different, I'm always thinking that way. If it's not something that is different, I don't do it.
That is so good. Let me just check the light. It's so good, Yoko. It's good. Try one with the glasses come down.
I always think about what this message that I'm going to give in that project is going to communicate with the people. So for that, when some project comes and says, please do this one, I say, is this going to be good for me to communicate my idea? And it is, then it's okay.
David James. Go turn more to your right again. Even more. Okay, take this hand and bring it up higher.
Yeah, I just need her. You see?
It's good. Let's stop. Should we stop now? Let's stop now. This is great. I love the very simple work it does for us. Thank you, Yoko. I love you so much. I'm really glad to see you. You do. I know. It was great to see Yoko and Patti too walking in. I mean, she just gets stronger and stronger. She's a great poet, and she's just the real thing. This one? Yes. That is so great. Not that biggest one.
I never wanted to be a musician. I wanted always to be a writer. I would say more that the realm of performance chose me because I think of myself more as a performer than a musician.
Yeah, I think we're going to need a slide band just to ease it.
Annie inspires me to project something. You know, it's a lot like performance.
Turn your head slightly to your right.
It's my responsibility to project something for her. I like being photographed against the backdrop of opera because it's empowering even in its sorrow. I asked for them to play Wagner, which is music that brings out both strength and a certain melancholy. I think that the concept of Annie's calendar is strong, bold, and in keeping with Pirelli's expression of showing women as beautiful within and without. I don't think of it as a protest or a reaction against former calendars, because I think the essence of a woman, clothed or unclothed, might come from her eyes, from her body language, from the placement of her hands. So you have to look at the whole picture.
Yes, yes. But don't hide your mouth, though. Go ahead, Orbe, that was good.
I love working with Annie, but I wanted to make certain that I accomplished my end of it.
Good.
She seemed happy at the end. When she said, "I got it," then I knew she had it. When an artist says they have it, then you know you've done your job.
Whoa, you were hot. You were hot. That was great. That was great. That was so good.
And when she said that, I knew everything would be fine.
The day was really great. Working with Annie is always amazing. She's such a wonderful photographer. We've worked together a lot in the past, and I really enjoyed it. And just being a part of the Pirelli Calendar is just really exciting. And I feel honored to be a part of it. It being about women and inspiring women. Being a black girl playing tennis, I hope and I'd like to represent something iconic, something that people really would like to be and people that really would like to do. I love being, one of the first, one of the pioneers, and I think that's really exciting to be inspiring to other people. I think it's so important to give back. My foundation, the Serena Williams Foundation, we have done a lot. So I have different chapters. In the United States, we really focus on education, and now we're also focusing on helping kids whose family's been affected by violence. And I've also opened 2 separate schools in Africa. And also being global ambassador of UNICEF allows me to travel around the globe, since I'm always around the world, and kind of promote education, health, and things of that nature. Annie definitely shot something of me that not only do I like, I love. It shows a different side.
Serena Williams walks in the door, and that is a body study. I mean, she is a great athlete. And Agnes Gund and her granddaughter, Sadie, were right there. And Sadie, this young college student, sees Serena Williams sitting there. And it's really emotional. I mean, very, very, very beautiful. Sadie couldn't believe she was meeting Serena Williams. I mean, let's face it, none of us were believing we were sitting there next to Serena Williams. Family is so important to me, and I was photographing Agnes Gund for Vanity Fair, and I was in her kitchen, and I saw a photograph of her with this young girl, and they were so beautiful. It turned out it was her granddaughter, and so when I called Agnes and asked if she would sit for this portrait, and I then asked if I could photograph her with her granddaughter, and she was thrilled. It was so sweet.
I had a wonderful experience with Annie. She's very particular, but you know that every little thing is just going towards making the final picture the best it can be. So it was really fun.
Sadie, just turn your gaze a little bit to your
I
left.
really like the fact that she does bring attention to the specific person. You don't feel like you're a number. She really hones in on the things that she wants from you, and from us, it was sort of the relationship that we had as grandmother and granddaughter.
Sadie, turn your head a little bit more now to yes. Beautiful, beautiful.
I think it's really relevant, the direction that the calendar went in this year. I think it shows that women are finally moving kind of into the forefront as really powerful people and creative people and inspiring people, and that's really cool to be a part of.
I did have a wonderful background in art that was quite in-depth because I lived in Cleveland, and Cleveland has one of, I think, the top 5 museums in the country. So it got me going to many museums that I might not have gone to otherwise. We did start a program about 38 years ago, in '77, that's called Studio in a School, and it has artists teaching art in the public schools. They had cut out all the art, especially the elementary schools. They called it a frill. They said it wasn't important, but art teaches so much else.
Sadie, just turn your head slightly.
Art has always surrounded me. I felt very lucky to know that I've grown up with so much art around me all the time. My mom's motto is think deeply, solve problems, make art, and I think those can kind of encapsulates how art can really change the world in ways that people don't really expect.
Thank you, Aggie.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Nice of you to have Sadie. I thought
Say hello to Cara. We're gonna.
Thank you.
We're gonna. That was great. I admire comedy so much. It's like the original performance art. And Amy Schumer, she is on a amazing wave right now. And Amy just takes things straight on. She's chartering a new course in areas that people were afraid to touch before. And she's just a very, very powerful, artist right now. Very powerful artist.
I am so excited to be part of the Pirelli family. It's not something I ever thought I would have the chance to do. And to hear that Annie Leibovitz was doing the photo shoot, after I Googled her, no, I'm just kidding. No, she's like the most amazing person. You don't dream you're ever gonna be able to work with her. And so to find out that I get to be part of something that just really celebrates women and their bodies and looking powerful, I jumped at the chance. And the women that are part of the calendar this year are just some of the most inspiring, powerful, unapologetic women alive. And I think the choice to have everybody clothed, it says a lot. It says these images can still be striking and vulnerable and beautiful.
We're gonna be a little more forward again here.
So I got there and I met Annie, and she's so calming and interesting. And we looked at some of the other photos, and she said she had an idea that it could be funny if I was the one who didn't get the memo that there was going to be clothing this year. And I was like, great, let's do it. Nudity. I'm 34, and everything's about to drop, so let's get a shot of it while we've got it up there. And it was really cool. I'm sitting in a chair, and so my instinct is to kind of like try to make things look like they look in magazines or like the images we've seen. And she's like, well, no, kind of slump over and let your stomach out. And I felt I looked more beautiful than I've ever felt in my life. and I felt like it looked like me. I don't know where they'll go from here, but I think that's what's so exciting about Pirelli is we're always waiting to see what's the direction, you know? What are they gonna do now?
Annie, she's an old friend. I've known her for a long time. She took my picture in the 80s for Playboy, where I was clothed. All the other girls in Playboy naked. Now she's taking all these women clothed in a calendar where there used to be naked girls. So perhaps clothed women are going to have a moment. Believe me, I do not think naked girls are going out of fashion. But it's interesting that people are interested in also other women, or other kinds of women, or different ways of looking at women. The calendar itself, I'm certain that this will be, I don't think shocking maybe is too strong a word, but it certainly will be surprising. I mean, I was surprised when I heard about it. I said, I thought it was a joke. The Pirelli calendar, really? You know, because I think naked? No. So I think, you know, many people have that reaction. Well, it started with her, like, asking me to wear, you know, numerous things that I already told her I wouldn't. This is par for the course. You know, Annie believes she could always convince you, and she even believes she can convince me, which she cannot. What she's actually looking for, I'm not certain. I don't know. I'm not a photographer.
You know what? Glasses off. You know, the only other thing I can think of is we had those round glasses. Try turn your head just a little back to your left. Okay. Back to your right.
Most people, well, when I say most people, I mean me, what you want in a photograph is to look good. That's it. You know, they may want you to look good, but they have an idea of what they want to see in you, you know, or what they do see in you, especially if they know you, you know, what they do see in you, and they're trying to, you know, visualize that idea for other people.
Come back, and then whatever.
People confuse fashion with style. You know, style you have, fashion you can buy. People who are young have a huge advantage, which is they look young. A young person in horrible clothes, let's face it, looks better than an old person in great clothes.
I am thrilled that the calendar is celebrating women who do all kinds of things, and I'm really honored to be one of them.
Let's try something different. That was very nice. That was beautiful. So I feel really good. If you want to try the shorter next. Yeah, go for it. Okay.
It was the first time they had seen her dad. Sometimes she'd call people and say, I got your letter.
I was asked to bring my own clothes, and it was interesting because Annie shot me a year ago, and I wore the dress that was like pink and velvet and vintage and very feminine, and everything I brought today was like black, and I ended up wearing a black turtleneck. So I was glad to be wearing something that felt like a transition from last year.
Okay. Great.
I've been on shoots, I've been told more quirky, less grumpy, so I was really happy that I was shot by Annie and that she was like, no, we like serious. So I was like, great, that's more, for whatever reason, what my face falls into.
Great.
I wrote my blog because I was just chronicling my interests as they were shifting and my style as it was evolving. And I wanted to move on to something new that would involve other young women. And it made more sense to be a website because I wanted Rookie to be accessible for people, and I didn't want it to cost money to read, and I wanted girls who read it to be able to easily find one another. I'm really glad that I have something that I love doing, like writing, where if you want to wake up in the morning and just write, you don't need an audience, you don't need to audition, you can just do it.
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it the whole way? No, leave it like this. I love it like this. It's still like crazy. Okay. Oh, Tavi. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. It was beautiful. We loved it.
Thank you.
Really beautiful.
That's exciting.
It was really magical working with Annie, as it always is. I was very moved by her telling me her vision of the calendar and how she picked these women who inspire her, each having its own powerful story to tell, and each beautiful in her own way. For once, the women are going to be very dressed. I was very, very dressed in this calendar. So that will be very different. Today, society is moving towards embracing all kinds of women and empowering them further to do more, to say more, to be stronger. And I'm very happy for Pirelli Calendar that it's going in that same direction with the rest of us. I think Annie is always looking for strengths and for a kind of directness. My focus is philanthropy. Naked Heart Foundation was born out of pain. It was a tragedy that happened in Russia in 2004. And that's how the idea of play parks was born, because I wanted to help these children who survived the tragedy in a way that would have a long-lasting effect. And I thought that building a play park and allowing them to, maybe even for 5 minutes a day, to forget about what happened to them would help them to feel that innocence again.
Thank you. We're done. Great. Beautiful. And everyone even turns to the natural light. So that's it. That's just these 3 days. So we have one more day where we have told this one in.
It was immensely interesting to be in the hand of another photographer, especially Annie Leibovitz. I know it's a very famous and very respected calendar, but I didn't know it. I was approached and I heard the name of Annie Leibovitz, and then slowly I heard what she's trying to do with the calendar, and that interested me a lot because I was very curious how I could fit into that definition of a calendar, because I'm not a model. I don't follow fashion and I don't know any brand names, so my style is self-created. And I was very struck by how much she had actually studied my work and my past images and trying to create a portrait that showed how I try to pioneer who I am from scratch and not look like a model or something that I couldn't be. There is a new form of looking at women that is not just purely about being beautiful in the physical sense, but also women who are complicated or interesting or intelligent, are creative, have accomplished things, but pay a great deal to their sense of style. And so I think for this calendar to pay tribute to women at all ages who have accomplished something, but still, are quite dignified in terms of the way they look at themselves and their bodies and their looks. It's quite a statement, but I think it's a relevant one for our time. Usually my work is simply my response to the world that I live in and my experience as a human being. Coming from a country that is known so much for its poetry and history of mystics, and yet fanaticism and mullahs and violence, my work, it really is an embodiment of Iranian identity. It's really that clash between terribly dark history but beautiful ancient history. So that's why I do what I do.
Shooting with Annie was just phenomenal. I'm a director, so I'm not used to being directed. But she's a director. I mean, she knows what she wants. She knows what looks good, what doesn't. And I put myself in her hands. I felt very comfortable.
Great. That's good. Ava, just do a profile for me. Just beautiful. Can they come in tighter?
I was told that the goal of the calendar was to have inspiring women be themselves and just present to the camera as themselves. And so I brought a whole caseload of my own clothes. And I walked in this $10 pants that I got at a street fair. And she said, "That's perfect. I'm going to use that." And she shot me in what I walked in with. To have kind of an institution like the Pirelli Calendar at this point, in this cultural moment, decide to do something different. It's welcomed. It's something that I champion. That's why I wanted to be a part of it. And so I love that they're embracing the moment that we're in. It's a very powerful moment for women around the world in all categories. And so I applaud the calendar and I'm happy to be a part of it. Cinematography is the photographic language of cinema, and so that's so much a part of my work as a director, as a filmmaker, and especially as a woman of color. So many of the films that I make, people of color are centered, and it's something I take very seriously. And so to be in a space where I'm able to work with another artist, another photographer like Annie, and she's photographing me as a woman of color, I see us being very much in conversation around that imagery, and I think it's an important one to have. Independence is, the aphrodisiac of the artist, to be independent, to be able to follow your whims, to be able to, even within certain limits that might be budgetary, that might be monetary, the best creativity happens within limits. And so just trying to follow my impulses in life and go where my heart takes me. And it took me from news to marketing to filmmaking. So who knows what's next?
Thank you, Annie. Wow, what a thrill. I love it. I think it's good.
That's my I'm being shot by Annie thing.
首先我要说，我非常荣幸能够受邀参加这一次的拍摄。因为在生活中有很多平凡而伟大的女性，她们也在潜移默化地影响着我。没有想到，说有一天，然后我也可以做一个对别人有影响的女性。 今天一开始跟安妮在这个见面的时候，我就发现她在跟我的几句的交谈的这个当中，她已经做了很多的功课。但是在跟她那几句交谈当中，她又一次进一步的又认识了我。他觉得我跟他想象的又很不一样，所以我们在拍摄当中就是做了一些尝试，我们换了很多次衣服，他在通过这些服饰来努力的寻找和把握最准确的那个我。那我觉得后来。那件这个真丝的白衬衫，让我和他都找到了最好的那个感觉。开微博已经有5年的时间，就是我在那个时候没有想到说。我在一个平台上说话，可以让这么多人来关注。因为在此之前，演员所有机会表达自我的时候，都是在作品里，或者只是媒体采访。所以，我这次很得意，就是终于。我也上了倍耐力。
Get the hair right. This calendar is so completely different. I mean, it's a whole other concept. But the whole idea was not to have any pretense in these pictures and be very straightforward and show these women exactly like who they are and hopefully have nothing come in between, you know, me and them and feel like there's not a camera there. I just knew it was going to be completely different, and I didn't worry about it. We just went there. Pirelli gave me that freedom. They said, we want to do a departure. I wasn't too sure it could be done, and they've totally embraced it. To me, it was every single day we photographed. I was more empowered, with every photograph we took. It was beyond the Pirelli calendar. I almost forgot I was doing the Pirelli calendar. It was just, I think that's when something like having this opportunity to take this space and make it extraordinary and really herald who we are as women, it was really great.